I've been working with Kevin on Spider-Man movies for the last 20 years. And when we started, we were dealing just with the characters that were part of the Spider-Man universe. And one of the great things about the partnership with now Marvel and Kevin and the MCU and this whole world is that we get to continue to tell stories about Spider-Man from Spider-Man's perspective set in a bigger universe. In the first movie, what Peter wanted, because he had just become Spider-Man, was to be an Avenger. He didn't want to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That didn't seem cool. That didn't seem fun. Tony Stark is like, and all the Avengers have these incredibly big adventures, and he was like, dealing with robberies in bodega. And that's not what he wanted. So in the first movie, it was like he had to learn that being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man was the thing he actually was born to do. In the second movie, after the world has changed, he is now running away from his responsibilities of being Spider-Man. Now he's like, well, deep inside, maybe I don't think I measure up. In this new movie that we're going to start, he is, the world knows who he is. And he's having to do a different version of what you always want to see Peter Parker doing, which is juggling his two worlds, juggling being a superhero and being a normal kid, and having all the things that normal kids want. To have girlfriends. In our movie, he's wanting to go to college. He's applying to schools. He's getting turned down by everybody because he is a real liability. So where in the before, he was getting turned down for everything because everybody thought he was like a loser. Now he's getting turned down for everything because he is infamous. Because when everyone knows who he is, it's the exact opposite than when everyone found out who Iron Man was. All the things that you would dream, now everybody would love you more because you really are that character, actually are the opposite for Peter. For Peter, it all goes wrong. I mean, the poor thing has the worst luck in the world, as he always has to. And so the tables are turned on him, and what the movie is about is him trying desperately to hold on to the idea that now his worst nightmare has happened. Jon Watts brings everything. Jon Watts came in and he said, I want to do it like a John Hughes movie. That was entirely his idea from the very beginning. He brings a much more, a very grounded sensibility. We were just, before I came here, we were just looking at sets, and Jon is always like, nope, down, down, down. It's too big. It's too extravagant. That's not Peter's world. That's not what things would look like if you were Peter Parker. And so he's constantly making sure that the world is grounded. The idea that the movies take place, as I think I said before, on the periphery of the MCU was entirely Jon's sensibility. Jon is a film nut and a music nut and geek, and the idea of all these hilarious pop songs, Italian pop songs, and from the last movie were all of Jon's inspiration. And as good as Jon is at the big stuff, and as good as he is at the action, and he's great, he's really an actor's director too, and he really cares about the intimate relationships and the truth of what would be going on between these characters, and coming to the emotion from a really honest place. From the very first second that we saw Tom, he inhabited the character in a way that I don't think any of us have ever seen before. But and he's a very, very fine actor, as well as an athlete and funny and everything else. But the commitment and passion which he brings to this character, and the level of depth which he brings to this character, and the commitment that he has to it has only increased over the years that we've been making these movies. And his enthusiasm and his sense of protecting Peter and his sense of exploring different parts of Peter has been unbelievable. I've been working on these Spider-Man movies for a very long time. And I have a great, I feel like Peter Parker's relative. And I think that what you're going to see in this movie is a celebration of everything that is Spider-Man in a way that I think is not only going to be incredibly moving to me, which it is, but I think its audiences are going to feel the same way.